So take us back to the Genesis. What moment sparked portable church?
There's going to be a long story behind that because it took the first 27 years of my life to get it going. So Kensington was launched in the summer of 1990, and then so we were part of that core team. There was 40 of us that really kind of started this whole thing. We did some test services, and then we officially launched September 30th, 1990. And the church grew, and then a series of different things happened. We moved from East Hills Middle School to the old Troy High School. We stopped growing as a church for 5 weeks, and that was really strange, so we panicked. The individual we called was a guy named Bob Logan. He was in the church growth, or if you want to call it the church health movement. He came to visit Kensington. He pulled me aside after that, and he said a very odd thing: take good notes. Like, what do you mean, take good notes? And he goes, the kingdom can use this. I'm like, use what? Because to me, this was normal. My background's in manufacturing efficiency. When it comes to portable churches, Kensington's parent church was a portable church. They took 25 people, took 3 hours to set that church up. They had a capacity of 400 people per service. Kensington took 6 people, 2 hours and 15 minutes to set it up for a capacity of 800 people per service. What do you do with the extra 19 people? But you use them for life change. I ended up leaving Kensington staff in 1993, and we, Mitzi and I and our first child, did a long vacation out west to try to figure out what we were going to do next. And we're driving along, looking at any random business you can see from the freeway and just talking. After about 2 weeks of driving along, as wives are known to do, she says, do you have any idea what you're saying? And I'm like, fill me in. And she says, every time we go past a school, every time we go past a hotel, every time we go past a movie theater, anytime we go past just about everything, you point out what kind of church can fit into there. Do you think God's calling you to still be involved in churches? So I started helping a couple of those churches. Still was the question of, should I or should I not be doing this? And so, and sometimes I can be very, very dense, and God has to get that 2x4 out. And so one morning, I was going to meet one of those churches for lunch, and I'm praying, Mitzi and I are praying, going, Lord, if I'm supposed to do this for a living, can you make that clear? And so I go meet up at the church. We work with getting them into a different building and went through a bunch of stuff. And at the end of it, they said, well, how much do we owe you for the advice? I'm like, Lord, that's pretty clear, isn't it? Worked with another church someplace else in the nation and taught them how to do all this stuff. At this point in time, we were not doing anything with stuff. And I got this phone call, and the conversation went about like this. Everything you've ever said is wrong. Like, really? Fill me in. Well, you said, put everything in cases and take less people trips to and from the parking lot. You are correct. I did say that. They're like, yeah, that doesn't work. Like, what do you mean that doesn't work? And they're like, well, we put everything in the cases, but they don't roll. I'm like, what do you mean they don't roll? Those casters can handle 350 pounds apiece. Are you telling me you put more than 1,400 pounds in a case? And they're like, well, we found something cheaper at Builders Square. This was that aha moment when I'm dealing with a master's degree carrying life change fanatic pastor. And I'm trying to explain caster selection. And so that's when we decided to start Portable Church Industries. Was not only can we say, because we go as a consulting company, say, what's God calling you to do? And whether your church has the hula team as worship, or whether your church is serving breakfast, or whether your church is the most ginormous kids ministry known to mankind, or whatever, that's for you to figure out. God is calling you to do something that is unique to your geography, to your era in history, and to your personality and style, and to the culture you're operating in. And so I can't help you with that, but I can take that dream and say, let's go make that happen. So we would design it in the consulting stage, and then we would come around and say, would you like us to just bring it out and show you how to use it all? And that was really the start of Portable Church Industries. I mean, it's got so many different slices of its impact. Number one is the professionalism of the local church, its ability to launch with confidence. When a pastor is standing there, he needs it to be working. He's trying to communicate how to change lives to people. He needs the systems flying in the background. so they can be concentrating on life change. Number two is you can now plant a church much lower cost than dirt and buildings. I mean, when we look at our mission statement, to help local churches enjoy maximum impact with minimum capital. It's that ratio. What we can do with a modest amount of capital, would take staggering amounts more to do it in fixed site permanent buildings. Fixed site buildings have their place. And as the organization matures in the community and so on and so forth, it matters. But that low cost startup stage, I know this is going to date me, but I use a stick shift analogy for that one. We're kind of like years 1 and 2 with a stick shift. Very useful for getting going. You probably don't want to stay in second gear all the way from here to Chicago. But you really want to use us to launch with authority. The other piece of that thing that is a huge part of the prayer is you've got the life change side of things. Churches are life-changing organizations. In heaven, you're going to be looking at this thread of time, having no clue where you were in making that all happen. So I guess I kind of hope that they'll say the same thing about us. 100 years from now, they will look back and go, wow, that was a fork in the road moment where the church increased its impact, increased its reach, and became even more effective in spreading the gospel.
I wish every church understood that we're truly here to help. We're not a vendor, we're a partner. We want to come alongside you. We want to join your team for that brief window of time. We want to take on the burden of design. We want to take on the burden of product acquisition, of building out that system, of creating something that is going to serve your volunteers well, both right away and years down the road. So when we look at what 2026 is about for us and what we're thinking about, it's really just, how do we help? God's doing something. He's always on the move, but we've been seeing the residual effects from COVID for a long time. And when that first happened, going all the way back to 2020, what we recognized at the time was that it was going to take a long time. It was going to take a while to really work our way out of that. The sense that I'm getting right now as we look at 26 is people are ready. They really just want to get after it. And so it's really neat and it's super encouraging and exciting as somebody who's been doing this for 18 years to look at this new batch of planters, this new groups that we're talking to. Churches that we worked with years ago are coming back and saying, we're ready for the next thing. Like we're going again, whether that's in a supported plant, whether that's in a multi-site location. And we're just so excited to be a part of the story. Yeah, so one of the first questions is, what all do you do? Well, the short answer to that is, what don't we do, to a degree, right? It's everything from discovery and design through build and product acquisition. We're sitting in our manufacturing building right now, for example. We have an amazing group of craftsmen that dedicate their days and their time to building these cases, everything for the worship experience. So audio, video, lighting, staging, backdrops, chairs, interior signs, exterior signs, kids ministry equipment. We do coffee equipment and supplies. And then we take all of that stuff, we put it all into these big cabinets, like I said, these cases these guys build, and then we load them into a trailer and we grid that out so that every trailer has a set number of case positions and anybody can be a volunteer on your setup and teardown team. That's a huge component of what we do here is we create a system that's not only repeatable week after week, but it doesn't limit who can be on your volunteer team. Because if you've got the heart to serve, why would anybody want to say no?